This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back with Doyin Fashakin. Excited to have our event planner here joining us from Doyin Fash Events, based out of beautiful Houston, Texas, joining us live today. Thank you for being here and joining us. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having
I'm
me.
great, thank you. It's excited that we finally get to talk today and go over all that you have to offer, plus your team. I know you really have the best of the best and the brightest minds in the event planning business. So tell us just a little overview about where you are based out of and some of the things you do.
So my name is Doyin Fashakin, and I am the founder and CEO of Doing Fash Events. We are based out of Houston, Texas, even though we travel all over the world. Doing Fash Events is a full-service event planning and design and production company where we specialize in creating high-end social and corporate events. We plan events such as milestone celebrations, whether it's your 50th, 70th birthday. We plan weddings, really nice high-scale weddings. We also plan conferences and other kind of corporate events, including holiday parties and even fashion shows and much more. Our
Mm,
events, of course, are very seamless, visually stunning, because we love people to come into our events and just be like, wow. We handle every single detail from the planning to logistics to design and the guest experience.
yep. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited that you're here. But before we get started to talk all about all the amazing events you do, and I think it's important to start with your background, if you don't mind. I want to know everything, where you're from. Tell us what inspired you to be here and, how your career took off in this path and journey. So it's kind of like we need your backstory, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was born in New York.
Oh, where
Um,
specifically?
I was born in Harlem.
Beautiful. Right in New York
Yes, yes.
City. Awesome. How long were you here for?
Just a few years. I don't want to say my age, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I was here for like about a year, and then my parents moved back to West Africa, Nigeria to be precise. So I spent about 17 years in Nigeria. So I I like to say I'm Nigerian American.
Beautiful.
Yes. So how did I get started? Well, I guess it started like a few years ago,
Okay.
about over 15 years ago, when I attended a wedding and things were a bit chaotic, no
Yeah.
structure, no flow. And I heard someone make a comment that stuck with me. And she was like, because it was an African event, and she was like, African events are always so disorganized and chaotic. And that statement hit a nerve because
Yeah.
I knew we were capable of doing better. I knew our events could be better. And I think it was that moment that I decided, you know what? I want to be part of the solution. I want
Yeah.
people to come to events, whether it's African or ethnic event, and even events generally, and be able to say, wow, this was a fun event. This was smooth. This was seamless. And I think that was what sparked, that was a spark that led me to starting doing Fash events. But also looking back to growing up, my parents hosted a lot of gatherings at the house.
Oh,
And as the first girl, of course, in the Nigerian home, I was expected to help get everything together. So I would be the one to work with the caterer. I would be
okay.
the one to help set up the tables and the chairs at the meetings that we had, because we called them meetings. I didn't even know it was called events back then, growing up as a little girl. And of course, so I guess it was inborn in me. Looking back, I realized that my story actually started much earlier than I thought, much earlier than the event where someone said African events were chaotic. It started when I was a little child. I didn't see anything special at that time. I was just helping. But now I understand those moments were actually shaping my love for the hospitality industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's funny how life works. Sometimes your early path quietly leads to your purpose in life, basically.
It's so true. I know. Well, that's
Mhm.
it. I want to hear, more about your journey of helping your parents host these events, right? As a child to building this international event brand. We're going to dive more into that and talk about cultural pride, professionalism, and all that goes into your planning, right? And
Yeah,
but first, I just want to still continue down the path here of you as a young child, right?
yeah.
And so what age were you starting with them, helping them host events and all?
Oh, about 10, 11.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
10,
So you
11,
really had a
yeah.
knack for that, making sure everything
I
was done
did.
properly and
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed hosting it. I enjoyed meeting people. And I just was that child that wanted everything to be perfect,
uh,
so it
yeah.
just worked out. Yes.
Well, you mentioned someone who is of African descent in the event space that you really had to prove, over the years, the creativity, the culture, professionalism could really coexist. Could you
Mhm.
share some of those obstacles and, what it was like to overcome them and, get to here?
Yeah, yeah. So I think the main thing was, the fact that a lot of people, felt like African events, like I said earlier, were, fun, very fun, colorful, but chaotic. Um, which bothered me because, creativity, warmth, and energy in our culture, I have to tell you, is unmatched, right? So, but we just needed like the structure behind it. So part of my mission with doing Fash events basically was to bridge that gap, to celebrate our culture, the African culture, the
Yeah.
Nigerian culture, ethnic culture, fusion cultures, because sometimes we do, do fusion events with other cultures, was basically to just bridge it with like excellence. Basically, that's what it was. Whether it was a Nigerian wedding, whether it was an African event, I wanted guests to feel the richness of our roots, while still experiencing a seamless and elevated production, which is what we're known for. So, to me, professionalism doesn't necessarily mean you're removing the culture. It just means you're presenting the culture in a beautiful way.
Hmm.
It's, about honoring while you're still setting a global standard, while executing. I
Oh,
want people to, when they walk into our event, to feel the heartbeat of the culture, whether it's through the food, the music, the clothing, and the people. And the
yeah.
balance is actually what makes it stand out.
Amazing. Well, could it's always good to hear, these obstacles. It makes you stronger, makes you who you are. And would you say your mentors, was it your family? Was it your parents? Or who else would you say, brought you here, along with your hard work, of course?
Of course, my parents, they're my mentors as well, but I mean, they typically don't really have anything to do with the hospitality or events industry.
Uh-huh.
So my dad was a politician, so it was just
Yeah.
political meetings that he was hosting. But I'll say I've been very fortunate to have had a few mentors that have guided me along the way. Um, People who model the kind of, grace that I loved to see, people who had the wisdom that I needed to grow, and people who just had great leadership skills, people who had family like myself, because I had a family, starting this business. I'm married with three boys. So I had mentors who had a family like myself because I wanted to see people who were like me to know that, yes, this can be done. And
Yeah.
people who are of faith and who are also ambitious like me. Today, I give back because I was given. So I also have
Hmm.
younger planners, younger people in the hospitality industry that I also mentor,
Aw.
creatives like myself.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Let's get started and back up now into a little bit. So here you are again doing Fash Events, full service planning, event design, production company based out of Houston. So you're handling a lot of high end clients, corporate events, weddings, milestone celebrations, holidays, parties, conferences. So you say you want to make it simple. The goal, right? To make an extraordinary
Mhm.
event feel effortless. So let's get started and talk more about the work that you're doing. Where do we begin?
You tell me, like, which one of the events you want to learn about? The corporate events, the milestone celebrations, the weddings?
I'll start, I'm just into, luxury weddings. Let's talk weddings. I feel a lot of people get married, have big parties like that, right? So let's
Yeah.
talk about weddings if you can, please. I want to hear, the type of offerings you have to those brides and grooms out there.
All right. So, of course, when we started this journey, we started with weddings. Weddings are so much fun. Everyone comes into a ballroom and you just see the beauty and the gorgeous ballroom when you come into it. But what people don't understand about weddings is like it takes a lot of work. Takes about 200 to 300 hours to plan a wedding. Weddings are very emotional because they're very personal. It's the biggest day for the bride. With that being said, we offer all kinds of packages for our wedding planning. We like to help the bride from start to finish because that gives us enough control and enough time to be able to execute the wedding seamlessly. And
Wow.
that's pretty much either taking everything off of that bride, or if it's a bride that likes to be hands-on, putting the wedding together with her.
Yeah.
We also like to do like partial services for the bride that has already been planning her wedding, but
Mm-hmm.
probably got stuck along the
Okay.
line. We also have the final month planning where you've planned everything out, but you just need someone to take off the stress off of you the final month of the wedding.
Yes.
We plan destination weddings. Those are fun. We've planned in at least 6 continents.
Wow.
We've planned weddings for about 30 people. We've planned weddings for 1,500 guests. So we've pretty much seen it all in the past 15 to 20 years.
Oh my goodness, that is
Yeah.
impressive.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes, yes.
goodness.
And
And
we are called the Fusion Company. They call me the Fusion Queen because we plan a lot of fusion weddings, whether it's
yeah.
an African marrying an American. We've done like South Korean marrying an American, Jamaican marrying an American, just different cultures. We love to educate the guests
Mm-hmm.
through the culture of the bride and groom.
Wow. Wow. And this is beautiful work. I mean, I got to take a look at your website and pictures, and I hope people, do the same too. Do you have a
Yeah.
preference though? What do you like doing the best? Or, I mean, it's probably hard to choose.
The kind of weddings that I like to do,
Yeah.
I would say destination weddings.
Oh,
Yes, because it's like an experience for everyone, the
yeah.
guest, the couple, and even us, because we're learning about that culture. There are times where we're going into a place where we've been before, we do plan multiple events at different locations, but there are times that we're being hired to come there for the first time. But I love the fact that you get to learn, you get inspirations because a lot of our inspirations for other events that we plan locally, we get them sometimes from our travels. Because when you travel
Yeah.
to another country,
Yeah.
you see how they do things over there. Sometimes you can just get an inspiration from even like the ocean, colors, from the trees, from nature over there in that country. So places are different, and we just love going to um, different destinations because from there we get educated, the guest experience um, a good time because a lot of times they're there for multiple days, so it's more like
Mm-hmm.
vacation for them. And even the couple, they get to relax as well. It's almost like they're planning a wedding and having their honeymoon at the same time because they get to relax and leave it all to us to put together for them.
Amazing. Well, by the way, I don't know who also like did your website, but it's fantastic looking at all these weddings and events. And I
Thank you.
hope people, reach out to you, say your wedding just isn't an event. It's the beginning of your forever, right?
It
It
is.
really
It is.
is.
It
So you
is.
mentioned the intimate ceremonies, yes, the grand celebrations, but every detail you say is designed with care, precision to ensure your day. So let's go over specifically what you offer. What is full service wedding planning? People may not even understand the concept of what you can do to help them. People might say, well, is it too expensive? The headache of the to get less stress at a wedding, it's priceless. But please explain that to us.
Yes, so full service planning is pretty much everything from
Yeah.
start to finish. And when I say everything, I mean everything. We start from onboarding the client,
Mm-hmm.
sitting together with them, understanding what is important to them. What is
Yep.
your vision? What are you trying to achieve with this wedding?
Mm-hmm.
And from venue sourcing to design to rendering to vendor management, vendor sourcing,
Yep.
logistics, and even the day of coordination, it's pretty much everything. So when we start with a couple, after they've signed the contract, we've onboarded them, we've learned about their vision and what they want to achieve, then the next thing will be to select the vendors.
Got
The
it.
venue selection, um, the budget creation and tracking, making sure that the overall budget, we have it, and we don't go over it, because sometimes people tend to go over the budget.
Yeah.
So we track the budget once it's created, making sure that we don't go over it. The event design and decor direction. Sometimes the brides will have a Pinterest board that they share with us. We take a look at it and see what it is they like, and then we go ahead and create their mood board, their vision board. After that, we will go into rendering, which is basically you seeing what your wedding would look like, exactly what it will look like on the day of the wedding. Pretty much the same color of flowers, what the linens will look like, rendering, not just the mood board or pictures. And then after that, we work on the timelines and the logistics management, from the catering timelines to the music timelines to even the wedding party timeline, and then the vendor timeline. We work on all the timelines. Also, we work on the guest list management and the guest experience. All messages are sent to the guests through us. Sometimes we have to make phone calls when we don't hear back from some of the guests. So it's pretty much hands-on. Of course, on the day of the event, on-site production, we're there with at least 4 to 8 members of the team, depending on how big the wedding is. For our smaller weddings, they typically don't need more than 4 coordinators.
Yeah.
But for the bigger weddings, we've actually even had up to 15 people at a wedding before, because it was a huge wedding and had a lot of moving parts. And we wanted to make sure that the guest experience didn't dwindle in any way. Want to make sure that everything was still top notch and everybody felt like they were being attended to. Because when you have the big wedding, sometimes it feels like, no one is attending to you. Um, and also after that, post production, we help take back the outfits that need to be returned, like any rental items, whether it's rental tuxedos, sometimes even rental outfits for the bride. Sometimes we have brides that don't want to get their own dress, they just want to rent it. So we do all that after the wedding, and return everything else that needs to be returned from the venue, from anything for the baker to anything for like the caterers that needs to go back to them. We make sure that they're all returned.
Wow. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Well, also, if you are just tuning in, again, Doyen's here talking about her event planning, Doyin Fash Events, based out of Houston, but she's not limited to Houston. Obviously, we're doing destination weddings and parties everywhere. Pretty amazing. And with your background, your passion, and clearly, you just love what you do. You're making dreams come true.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned cultural pride, professionalism, really that does coexist. And do you want to talk a little bit about that in your business specifically?
Yes, we can talk about that.
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
All
I
right,
don't know
all
if you
right.
want me to lead the way or you could take over. Go ahead. Just want to make sure we're covering everything here for our big first show.
All right, all right, all right. So basically, which I think I'd mentioned a little bit about this earlier, we create experiences where, cultural pride and contemporary celebrations coexist. Um, we basically ensure that your people come to the events, and even though it's a cultural event, it's a Nigerian event, you're still able to come in there and see the modern aspects. No chaos like people expect from ethnic weddings, just because there's always a lot going on at this event. There isn't chaos. Everything is seamless. So even though you're seeing people in outfits dressed up culturally, you're seeing like the Nigerian food, the African food, the Jamaican food, or whatever culture or food you're seeing, you still have the program that is seamless. You still have organizations, whether it's people knowing where to sit, whether it is having an MC that is organized, that is moving the guests through each program that they have at the wedding, um, or whether it's basically just people acting in a civilized manner. Um, that's basically how both can exist. Like I think we talked about this earlier actually, where I mentioned how we bridge that gap, basically just ensuring that guests can feel the richness of the event,
Mm-hmm.
um, and still ensuring that the event is pretty much elevated and organized. And that's, like I said earlier, it's the professionalism of the vendors, whether it's the MC, or whether even the planner, which is us, making sure that there's still professionalism at the event. Everything is moving on
Yeah.
smoothly. People know where they're sitting, because I've been to events where it was chaotic. Nobody knew where to sit. People just came in and just walked in. So, you want to walk into those events and just feel like, even though, yes, it's very cultural, it's very festive, it's very colorful, but then there's a sense of organization, there's a sense of professionalism. Everything is going on according to the program. Things are not like all over the place, and you just kind of balance it out. Yes, we want to show culture, but then we want to make sure that this is also like a seamless, creative event with warmth and energy.
Got it. Well,
Mhm.
also, there's still so much more to talk about with what you do. Did you want to dive into more of the other event planning you do, not just weddings? I mean, because there is a lot, but I know we also have a lot of notes. I want to make sure we're covering everything. Where did you want to take us next?
We can talk about the milestone celebrations.
Sure, sure, go for it.
Yeah, so with the milestone celebrations, we, plan birthdays as well. We put together over the top birthdays. Sometimes some of them actually feel like a movie premiere, when you come into them. And it's almost similar to the wedding planning, whereby we sit down with you and have a consultation and also ask for your vision. What do you want the event to feel like? What do you want guests to experience? Because we're, like I said earlier, we're more about the guest experiences. We want guests to come into your event and feel like, wow, they thought about us, the client had us, I mean, the celebrant had us in mind when they were putting this together. We want them to feel um, like they were part of it, basically. So after the consultation, we do the same thing, create the budget, because we always want to make sure that we stick with our client's budget. We create a checklist because we want to know what we're doing from start to finish. We want the client also to know exactly the process. What do we start from the venue search to the vendor sourcing to creating the timelines to creating the production schedule. So we have a checklist that we follow, and then we meet on a month-to-month basis with that client, ensuring that we're all on the same page. We meet with all the vendors, read through their contracts, negotiate the contract, and ensure that what the celebrant wants is what is going to be done on the event day. And once all the vendors are selected, we swing into full production mode. We're there from start to finish
Oh my goodness.
on the day of the event, making sure that everything is set up right, and making sure that the guests are also welcomed, whether by dancers sometimes, because we just love guests to come in and just be wild. Sometimes we could have dancers, or we could have welcome drinks, or we could just have a live band serenading the guests as they come into the event space. Just because, like I said, we're very big on guest experience. We're there from start to finish, and at the end of the day, we help with the breaking down. And, same thing like weddings, returning all the rental items, returning anything that we need to return for the client.
Wow. And how many people do you have working on your team?
It just depends on the event. If it's a big event, would have as many as 6 to 8 people, or like it said earlier, we've actually had 15 people at an event before because it was an event that had over 1,000 people. But basically I guess the least amount of staff would be 4 people. And that's because they're just different aspects of an event. You want someone managing the celebrant or the couple, if it's a wedding. You have someone managing the MC, making sure that he goes through the program the right way. And you have people also like just checking up on the guests, making sure that the guests are fine and they don't need anything. So basically, we would have anywhere from 4 to 8 um, on the average.
Wow, amazing. And how does it feel to have all these different accolades? I mean, you were named like the top event planner by so many, companies and publications. You were in People Magazine, New York Times. I mean, that's got to feel good that you're doing something so amazing, right?
It's amazing. I feel humbled because
Yeah.
I don't think I've even scratched the surface yet. I think there's still a lot for me to learn. I'm still learning. I tell people because you never know it all. And I'm happy, yes, that I've received some awards, but I'm a work in progress and I'm still working on myself, making sure that I'm a better version of myself each day. So I don't feel like I'm there yet. I think there's still a lot of work for me to do and a lot of learning and a lot of development.
Yeah.
So I feel humbled that at least the little that I'm putting out there, some people are noticing it. My main goal is for the clients to always be happy with our services, and that's what makes me, feel like I'm doing something good.
Aw, great. Well, we still got 4 more minutes left in your show. What else do you want to make sure we cover for today?
Um, anything else? Anything. I'm pretty open. I
I
mean,
don't know. I mean, next time, if we
corporate
have more
events.
shows together, I would love for you to share your screen next time, maybe to see some of these beautiful events. I think it's always beautiful to see, what we're
Oh,
talking
you can
about
take a
and
look
the
at them. Yes.
creations that you have. Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
yes. Well, I guess what else can we share? We can talk about a little about the some of the corporate events we've done. We've done, some of the corporate events are fun too. A lot of people think that they're boring, but corporate events are not just the conferences. Sometimes we plan the galas and the holiday parties, the retirement parties, the picnics, and those two are so much fun. Just being able to take a lot of this corporate events from what people perceive as boring to very exciting. And I'll give an example. We planned a nonprofit conference recently. It was a 3-day conference in Atlanta. And typically, you would come into a ballroom, and the conferences are usually just set up classroom style. They look boring. But for us, because it's during Fash events and we love things to be elevated, we love people to come in and always say, wow, whether it's a conference or a seminar. So,
Yeah.
of course, we decked it out, designed it. We had linens, we ruched them. It just looked beautiful. We actually had even some flowers, flower buds on the tables, and it just looked so nice. We draped the walls, and it just made the attendees feel like, wow, those people thought about us and wanted to give us an elevated experience. So we just like to elevate all our events. We love the guests to come in and just have the Doyin Fash or the wow factor experience. And that's what we do, whether it's a wedding or a milestone celebration or even a corporate event. We just love, people to experience and remember our events, how our events made them feel, even long after the lights go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, well, thank you so much for joining us, for being here. Now, tell us how we can reach out to you, please.
Oh yes, you can reach out to us through our website, which is www.doyinfash.com. We're also on social media, Instagram, TikTok, we're everywhere. Doyin Fash at Doyin Fash underscore for Instagram. And also you can call us 832-278-6366 or send us an email info@doyinfash.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here. Looking forward to the next time we get to connect. Thank you
All right.
again.
Thank you. You have a great day. Thank you.
Bye. Great to finally
Bye.
connect. Beautiful work,
Thank you.
really. Thanks
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.